Hey, everybody. I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about this, but I just have to double down on this fact. When the idea for tax increment financing was first announced for the Oakland Athletics Howard Terminal Ballpark, and by me, since I had given the idea to Dave Cobble, field of crap, the website that thinks that public funding is bad. I happen to think public funding is a great thing for sports entertainment facilities for a whole host of reasons that are longer than I want to take time for right now, since I want to take time to say what I'm about to say to you. But they or Neil DeMoss, the massive racist over there, took out an entire page against me for simply for saying that I came up with the idea. That's really what it was all about. He can't stand that a black guy has the nerve to say that he came up with anything except something that has to do with the black cultural bailiwick as Neil sees it. Okay. And Neil won't admit it, but it's obvious to anybody who pays attention to him, who has the proper sensitivities as an American citizen should have. A lot of people who blast me, who complain about me, I don't care if they say they're American or even were born an American, they are not American. All right. You're not American if you can't stand a person of color who has an idea, who states it confidently. There are a lot of people like that, regardless of their skin color. They're wacko like that. But I digress. The simple fact of the matter is, in this subject, we had none other, all right? Yeah, none other. I mean, none other than this.
Patricia or Patricia Yerger?
Excuse me for a second. So, as I was saying, the simple fact of the matter is that there are people like Neil who just can't stand it. Oh, he's got to be wrong, and there are people who they'll bend over backwards to try and prove that I'm wrong about subjects they know nothing about. Neil's one of them. Okay, he's one of them, and he had his readers come along and write awful stuff about me too. And I was just happy to chime in and say, hey, you guys are just completely wrong. And you're mentally ill because you're racist. You have no other reason for what you're saying other than your dislike for who you think I am, because they've never met me in person. Now, I will say I may meet them in person and like them, but my point is they haven't given me that opportunity. Neil has never come onto my show to debate things, but he has no problem, writing something and talking about me from a distance, right? Okay? So, the simple fact of the matter is I came up with that idea to use tax increment financing for the athletics ballpark. Period. All right? Period. Okay? Why did I do it? Because, as I told Dave Cobble when I introduced the idea to him on the 4th of April of 2017 at 4 o'clock in the afternoon Pacific time, that was our conversation time, that he would not be able to get an athletic stadium or ballpark passed without committing to at least subsidize the construction of affordable housing. And I said the best way to do that is via tax increment financing, because it takes the load financially off the athletics and puts it on the expectant growth in assessed value caused by new structures, not just the privately financed ballpark, but the other planned structures around it within that 55-acre parcel. They thought it was a great idea. He went better and worked with Nancy Skinner, our great state senator, and our now former mayor, Shirley Schaff, and Assemblyman Rob Bonta to create SB 293 Skinner, their designer tax increment financing legislation. And if you read it carefully, and I've told everyone, read the legislation carefully. Read the legislation carefully because it allows the funding of everything from Head Start programs to assistance for businesses, small businesses that are having trouble. And indeed, SB 293 Skinner was enhanced by AB 464 Mullen January 21st of 2021, which allows the use of tax increment financing to help small businesses damaged by the pandemic recover. And it's very open-ended that way. And so we have Max saying, Z, you've been saying this since the beginning of the whole A's saga, that the A's would be relocating to Las Vegas. Appreciates the honesty, though it through it all. Z and speaks facts. Thank you. Look, I don't say this with glee. This is my way of working out something that should the emotional problem dealing with a great city I love that has allowed its soul to be sucked away by another city, in this instance, Las Vegas, that had its act together and truly wanted these great organizations, the Raiders and the Athletics. Whereas Oakland, as Eric Grubman really pointed out when he was the NFL's point person for stadium relocations, said Oakland didn't have a plan itself to retain the Raiders. It was reacting to what other people were doing, which means it's not genuine. And he's right. He's right. It was political. Everything was mirrors. I don't want you to see that we're really not working as hard as we should. And what hurts even more for me is that there are people who said to me that when Libby was running, they said to me that Libby would not work hard to retain. And they said this in 2014. I've never said this before, but this is a fact. They said that Libby would not work hard to retain the Athletics or the Warriors, but the A's. And the reason she said that she didn't say that, but the reason it was said about her was how some people viewed Libby with respect to how she regards people of color. That's why. And I tried to talk with her about this in another situation. I tried. Okay. And there were a number of instances where Libby got it right, but there were even more where she didn't. It's very sad. Max says, on Las Vegas or the Tropicana site is getting demolished fast, like really fast. Didn't see Oakland getting it done fast. Nope, not at all. So anyway, it really hurt that Libby didn't establish the task force. She didn't do it right. And it really hurts that to this day, we have not used tax increment financing. Do you realize that? We haven't. We have had as many as 6 different project areas, including the Coliseum redevelopment area, which is my area, as an intern with the Oakland Redevelopment Agency coming out of Cal Master's degree program in 1987. I was working on something called the survey area, where we were creating the argument for the city council to adapt the proposed plan to make the Coliseum redevelopment area just that. It eventually grew to over 7,700 acres, the largest in California. I believe the largest, yes, in California redevelopment history, if not the country. But still, we didn't use tax increment financing. Okay? We never used it. So Oakland has never experienced the power of tax increment financing, ever, at all. So here we come along, and A's fans who should be paying attention, but have not, a number of them who live outside of Oakland, but as far as I'm concerned, that's no excuse. You pay attention to the government anyway. I pay attention to Las Vegas government, not Las Vegas legislature, the Nevada legislature. They can do that. All right. Never once paid attention to what was really happening in Oakland and let people who really didn't know about baseball economics talk about it over those like myself who actually built a game of running the business of the Oakland Athletics that was used in 40 colleges and high schools in the United States and the United Kingdom. Yeah, sports business simulations. Google it, visit the website. Yeah, all right? You have all these people talking who've not had done squat, including Neil. All he does is write on that stupid site of his. That's how I regard it, okay? So, simple fact of the matter is that all of this ridiculous talk, and then here comes the revelation. A document that was put on, of all places, the database website of The Athletic, the publication, that introduced a draft infrastructure financing plan for an enhanced infrastructure financing district of Howard Terminal. 52 pages. I have it. I presented it last night. And it includes a call for a subsidy of $2.5 billion. $2,500,000,000. All right? So where's the hue and cry? And I'm going to tell you something else. Here's another tidbit I didn't even mention last night. When I was actually checking over the calculations, I discovered, first of all, that Century Urban used a 2% increase in property taxes for the Howard Terminal area. 2%. Now, for those of you who don't know, the state of California automatically increases property values, allows counties to do that by 2%. This is a byproduct of what's called the Jarvis-Gann Proposition 13 initiative, which passed in 1978. And I remember exactly where I was when it was passed. I was waiting on a bus to go to Skyline High School the morning that the news came that it passed, and I was talking with an elder who said, well, now my housing prices, my property taxes will go down significantly, and I can afford, to stay in my home. I said, yeah, but what about my school? It's going to suffer. And she said it wasn't going to happen. But come 1987, California schools began to suffer greatly because by that time, the accumulated impacts of not getting as much money as school districts were used to were beginning to be felt. All right. So anyway, Prop 13 allowed a 2% increase automatic. That's it. That's what they based the calculation on. I'm thinking, why did they do that? The same organization, Century Urban, that I blasted for their initial mistakes, which led to a $400 million tax increment financing revenue calculation for an area that I said could project as much as $9,700,000,000 if the Athletics were going to build $12 billion of mixed-use development, including the ballpark. All right? So I knew then and now they were not doing the calculations correctly, talking about Century Urban. And yet the city paid them almost $1 million. So the city does nothing. In other words, no enhanced infrastructure financing plan, a meeting with the county that was tepid. It was clear the county didn't know what to do, and neither did the city. The mayor came on my program and admitted that she didn't have the staff to do redevelopment. In other words, to understand tax increment financing. She even made a mistake in the statement she issued in that regard. All on video, okay? Libby cannot say she didn't say it. I have the video. All right? So here we are in this situation, and the city doesn't do it correctly. The Athletics are in a hurry. They decided to move November of 2021. Forget all the other stuff. Everything else was just political window dressing on the part of the city and the A's being, polite people. But all the time they're working in this direction, they're on parallel paths, which Dave Koppel said they were going to do. He didn't lie. They were on parallel paths. I heard him. He was on my show saying it a bunch of times. You should watch the videos where we talked. There's a treasure trove of information there for anyone who cares to listen. Okay? He said it. And so they move or begin the preparation moving, work with a friend of mine on their bond issue, came up with a neat and elegant solution for the ballpark. Now, did they want to do something much larger? Of course they did, but they couldn't find the development partner. just like in the situation in Oakland. And it's Oakland Economic Development Department staff's responsibility to find those partners, to put out those design charrettes, to have that RFP out there. The city did nothing. Nothing. So here we are. They make a neat little bond issue, and we have, of all people, former, and I have to say great, San Francisco Supervisor Chris Daly, now in Las Vegas, crowing about this bond issue, saying, oh, it's a lot of money. And then his partner in crime, Alexander Marks, who is afraid to debate me on the matter and, acts really ridiculous over the mere mention of my name, although he's never met me. Wild stuff, okay? Does he have something to hide? Anyway, so they're all like, oh, you can't do this. I'm saying, well, just make a deal with Dave Cobble. He's going to be making a ton of money there. You can figure out some way forward for education there, help out. But no, they wanted to be, rabble-rousers, evoke the 60s and all this jazz. Oh, brother, okay? And I was born in 62. Give me a break, all right? Give me a break. There's no excuse for people criticizing a $120 million bond issue, but they're not criticizing a $2.5 million subsidy, which would lead to a bond issue of about $750 million. Yeah. If you go with a 2-to-1 debt coverage ratio. Now, if you want to be, risky about things and go 1.5 to 1, then you're looking at a billion-dollar bond issue. I wouldn't recommend it, but hey, you can always change the boundaries, right? Add that other part of Jacqueline Square as it was originally planned until Betsy Lake came along and said, well, if you do that, then that's going to take away money that can go to the general fund. Well, no, not if you calculate it out right, correctly, Betsy. And by the way, there's something called a pass-through. All right. No one ever does the math with these things. They just talk. Show me your calculations. Show me your formulas. We have none of that. I'm the only person who's presented it. Century Urban hid their rate of growth of assessed value. You had to be familiar enough to actually, go in and figure it out. Ridiculous stuff. Excuse me. All right. Got that one. It says, can't imagine the traffic jams. Bad location. Well, actually it's not. It's a smart location. You want to know why? Tourism. They're going to get a ton of visitors. That place is designed to do one thing, make a ton of money. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Max says, Bay Area fans are saying that the A's don't have the financial means to get the project done. They're saying it's going to sit there empty for years, laugh out loud. Bay Area residents don't own Las Vegas. Right, and you would think that they would got a clue after the Raiders move, but it's kind of like things go in and they just come out, right? And they don't sit there. Ugh. Max says, Las Vegas Athletics, please hire Z. This man knows his stuff. Thanks, man. It's very nice. So anyway, I'm going to go down and enjoy dinner with my great and lovely mom. Hey, folks, when you get an opportunity, do one thing. Do me one favor. Just one. Call your parents and tell them you love them. That's all I ask that you do. When your parents ask for your help, give it to them. You will not regret it. It'll be the best thing you've ever done in your life if you're not already doing it. Okay? Fortunately for me, I've had the one thing that I got life in my right. I got life in my right. The one thing that I got right in my life was my relationship with my mother and my father. And I'm proud of that. See y'all later.